Welcome in, guys. We're back on our overreaction videos for week 4 this time. You know how it goes. We're going to break these up into separate videos, each one going over our overreaction. So make sure to check each one out if you like what you've seen in this one. We brought in a new special guest for this week, Mr. Riley Goodwin. Say hi, Riley.
What's up, everybody?
All right, for the next game, we're going to go into this Oregon-Colorado game. This is my overreaction, and I want to start with, we don't talk about losers when I'm the one in the seat here. So I'm going to talk about Oregon. And my hot take for Oregon, after what I saw, is I still think Colorado's a 7-win, 8-win team. Oregon proved to me that the Pac-12 is not just USC's to waltz through and win. I love that Oregon front seven and that Oregon offensive line. And I think they might actually give Oregon, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it, they give Oregon an edge over USC. That's my hot take after this weekend.
Who wants to go next? Chase, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the hiring of Dan Lanning was the perfect choice for Oregon. The Pac-12 is definitely an offensive type of conference. Well, it won't be in a year, but it's an offensive type of conference. And so
Oregon State and Washington State play really good offense.
The Pac-2. And I think with hiring a guy under Kirby Smart's tutelage and then also from the Georgia defensive coordinator position, man, you get that edge of having a great defensive scheme to come into a Pac-12 with heavy offenses. And dude, Dan Lanning has that edge to him. He has that. You watch the halftime speech of all this, man, I just saw Kirby Smart in him. He is a great leader, first of all, a great hire for Oregon. And so, yeah, Oregon, I personally love this team. I think you can rival USC very, very well. Now, let me say, I think this is a different game if Travis Hunter's there. I'm just going to toss that in here real quick. I think Travis Hunter makes up a little bit of this game, just a little bit, not a whole lot, but this is exactly who we thought Colorado was. They can't hang with the big dogs, but they're going to win the decent to average games, maybe a score or two, and they're going to get to 5 to 8 wins, 6 to 8 wins, whatever it is. But I think there's a little bit of a gap shortened if Hunter's there. I'm just going to toss that in. But back to Oregon. Oregon's an amazing team. Oregon is a very, very good team. And I think if USC thinks that they're the big dog, Lincoln Riley thinks they're the big dog and they slip up, Oregon might get into the playoff. Oregon might sneak in over USC. And personally, I'm going to agree with Quinn. That front seven gives them the edge and allows them to be more dominant than the rest of these high-power offenses that we see in Washington, that we see in USC, and the rest of the Pac-12.
Riley, go ahead.
Yeah, look, Deion Sanders himself could have put on pads and ran on that field, and they ain't winning that game. They ain't getting nowhere near beating Oregon, all right? So Travis Hunter being there ain't going to make a difference. That game was a beatdown. Deion Sanders said it himself in his press conference. He said, a good old-fashioned butt kicking, and that's exactly what happened. Like, there's no way. I don't hate Colorado. I actually really love the energy that Deion brings, and I think he's going to have something there that's fantastic. He's going to build something there, and I can't wait to see it. But you also got to think, this is a team that had one win last year. Yeah, they replaced like the entire roster, but it still takes some time of building and developing players. So I don't think there's anything that could have happened last night or Saturday night for anything to change. But the thing is, that's not necessarily because Colorado is bad. It's just because Oregon is that good. Oregon is the first Pac-12 team that we've seen in years actually play defense. And that is a big-time deal. And honestly, Oregon is a top 5 team for me. They're one of those that I know Freddie's going to disagree, but I would have beating Florida State right now. I think Oregon has a solid argument for a top 2 team in the country. And it's because they played on both sides of the ball, and I wasn't shocked at that outcome at all.
Quinn, I'll say this for you. Put some respect on Utah's name. They won the Pac-12 championship twice by playing defense.
That's fair. Yeah.
So that's number one. And I don't know where you say Oregon should be number 2 in the country. I don't. They don't. No. This was their best win against a team that was heavily overrated. And yes, I've said it. They were overrated. You don't get beat 42-6 as the whatever 16th or 19th best team in the country, quote unquote, and you're ranked perfectly. They were overrated. Okay. The media hype was real. Listen, I want to clear the air. Clear the air. I love Deion Sanders. He's one of the greatest athletes in the history of all of sports. But that does not mean that this Colorado team is that great of a ball team. They're a decent team, but they're not a great team, and they got exposed hard. Chase, Travis Hunter does not, 42-6, Travis Hunter maybe makes up a touchdown. Maybe. You know what? I'll be generous and give him 2, one on offense and one on defense.
35-17. That's what I think.
It's still a butt kicking. Physically, it was a butt kicking. Shedeur Sanders was horrible in this game. And again, it was because of the defense that Oregon played. And I thought personally that Nebraska had a pretty decent defense. You know, when you think of Nebraska, it's what you think about is defense, right? Especially how bad they've been. It's the one thing they've been able to actually somewhat do well is play defense because of the type of people they recruit. That was not this Oregon defense. This Oregon defense is something different. And Quinn, I agree. They definitely have an edge up over Southern Cal in that category. Now, Colorado, they're not ranked after this loss for good reason. I mean, you don't get beat that bad and get ranked. I do want to call your attention to the USC games at home for Oregon. That's another edge up. They play on November the 11th. I would imagine that would be, I don't know if it'd be a night game. I know the Pac-12, their big games normally isn't at night for whatever reason. But I do want to say this. 2 things about each coach and what they said in each point of the game. Dan Lanning at halftime, we don't chase clicks, we chase wins. I think that speaks volumes to a team that has a higher goal than just trying to showboat and trying to draw in all these rappers for games. Now, that's probably going to come off really bad. However, all the trash talking, like all of that stuff will catch up with you. I mean, it just will. It's called karma. Now, what Deion said after the game, he said, you better get us now. This is the worst that we're going to be. I agree with that wholeheartedly. This is the worst that a Colorado team under Deion Sanders will ever be, and it's year 1. So I really like that statement of, we got our butts kicked. He took that press conference a lot better than I thought he would. Let's be honest. It's the first time we've seen him really lose on a big stage and get his butt kicked. He took it well, and he stated facts. This is the worst they're ever going to be. But to Oregon, they're not a top 2 team. They're definitely a top 5 team.
So, earlier in our Florida State Clemson video, I dropped that I think there are 3 or 4 teams that are better than Florida State. One of them's Texas, who we're not going to talk about. We have a couple we are going to talk about. One of them is this Oregon. I don't think Riley's far off by saying they're top 2. I don't have them top 2. I have them top 4. I think they are above Florida State right now. What I saw them do, not because Colorado's some super great team, they owned them. And as far as the Travis Hunter thing, Chase, no, he would not have made a difference because where Oregon killed them was on the line of scrimmage. And Travis Hunter doesn't play on the line of scrimmage. He would not have helped them at all in this game. You can't throw the ball to him as a receiver if you ain't got time to. And you don't have to worry about throwing against him if you can just run all over. So I don't think he really makes a difference. Maybe he makes a big play early in the game that keeps Oregon from beating them 42-6, and maybe they beat them 35-6. That's the impact I think he makes in that game.
Yeah, I agree.
That's going to be the end of today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure if you liked this one to watch the others in this series that just got released today. We thank you for coming in. I've been Quinn. This has been 3 Ball Takes. Freddie, Chase, and our special guest, Riley. Riley, thanks for coming on.